Hello everyone and welcome to Changeling Gaming. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to play Villainous. Villainous is a level 2 play-to-learn game for 2 to 6 players that takes on average an hour to 2 hours to play. In Villainous, we take on the mantle of various villainous figures from Disney movies. We each have our own realms and our own goals, but being competitive and self-serving individuals, we also want to be the first to accomplish our aims ahead of our fellow villains. We'll use the fate of various heroes from their realms and our own careful plotting to decide whose schemes will come to fruition. Setup. First, every player needs to choose which villain they want to play as. In the core game, they can choose from Captain Hook, Jafar, Maleficent, Prince John, the Queen of Hearts, and Ursula. Each player receives the player board, guide, villain piece, player deck, and fate deck that match the villain that player has chosen. Each player should also receive a reference card. One side lists all the villain's objectives, and the other lists all the possible actions a villain can take. Each player should read through their villain guide. It contains all the key information for how to run the specific villain they have chosen to play. These guides will also clarify whether each player's villain board includes a lock token or any other villain-specific pieces from the expansions. In the base game, Ursula, Jafar, and Captain Hook all have lock tokens on their furthest right location at the start of the game. Once players have read through their guides and taken any time they want to examine their player deck and fate deck, they'll thoroughly shuffle both decks, placing them to either side of their player board. Pull out the cauldron and fill it with the power tokens. In a 5 to 6 player game, also pull out the fate token. Decide who will play first, however you want. In clockwise order from there, the first player starts with no power tokens. The second player starts with 1 power token. The third and fourth players each start with 2 power tokens, and the fifth and sixth players each start with 3 power tokens. How to play. On a player's first turn, they choose any unlocked location to place their villain piece. On subsequent turns, they will have to move to a different unlocked location in their realm. A villain can never stay in the same place, unless there is an effect that says otherwise. After moving, each player has the option to use each of the actions available at their new location up to 1 time for each symbol. This includes any actions that open up due to other actions taken or cards played, but each symbol can only be used once. These actions can be executed in any of the unlocked locations of the villain's realm. These actions are Gain Power. When you take this action, you gain a number of power tokens equal to the number within the symbol. Play a card. To play a card, you must expend power tokens equal to the number in the top left-hand corner of the card, returning them to the cauldron. If you play an ally or an item, it gets placed at the bottom of your villain board, where it stays until an effect or action causes it to move or be discarded. Some items specifically need to be attached to an ally in order to be played. These cards will say as much. There are some other types of cards that are played into this area that are villain-specific, such as Maleficent's Curse cards. If you play an effect card, then resolve the card's effect and place it in your discard pile. There is one more type of card, condition cards. These cards are unique in that you do not play them on your turn using one of these actions. Instead, there's a condition stated on the card that relates to one of the other villains at the table. If that condition is fulfilled, such as another villain having 6 power or 3 allies, then you can immediately play the condition card and gain its benefits. Activate. The activate action will relate to other cards played in your realm, such as allies or items. These cards will have an activate symbol on them and might list an additional cost to activate their abilities, usually a price that must be paid in power tokens. Once activated, follow the effect description on the card. Fate. When you take this action, choose another villain. Take a look at the top 2 cards of their fate deck and choose one to play into that villain's realm. Heroes are played like allies, except they are played on the top of the board and cover the top 2 actions of the board they are played onto. Items and effects work in the same way as a villain's cards, but are attached to heroes, or have effects that are detrimental to the villain. When necessary, shuffle the fate discard pile to form a new fate deck. If you are playing a 5 or 6 player game, your target receives the fate token, and cannot be targeted by a fate action until someone else has taken the fate token by being targeted themselves. Move an item or ally. This action allows the villain to move items or allies under their control, 1 space to the left or right in their realm so long as both locations are unlocked. Move a hero. This action allows the villain to move the heroes, opposing them 1 space to the left or to the right within their realm so long as both locations are unlocked. Vanquish is used to defeat a hero that is plaguing the villain. To vanquish, a villain must have an ally or allies at the same location as the hero, whose strength matches or surpasses the hero's strength. When the hero is vanquished, you place that hero in your Fate discard pile, and you must also place all allies used along with any attached items into your Villain Deck's discard pile. Discard cards. This action allows the villain to discard any number of cards from their hand. This action is particularly useful to get rid of cards that are not immediately useful to the villain, because they can only get new cards by playing or discarding their old cards. At the end of a villain's turn is when they will draw back up to a hand of 4 cards. This is the only time in a round that a player will draw cards unless they have a card that says otherwise. When necessary, they reshuffle their discard pile to form their new villain deck. The combination of action options on a given space is unique to each board based on how a villain operates within their realm and what their goals are. For instance, Ursula has a unique form of vanquishing heroes that involves her having to move them but not fight them. So she has a move a hero action and no vanquish action. While Jafar has no need to move his heroes and thus has no move a hero action but does have a vanquish action. There is a section for frequently asked questions at the back of the rulebook that should help to clarify any queries that may arise. So go out and prepare your evil laugh for when your schemes come to fruition and you prove yourself to be the most villainous competitor of all. If you have any questions about the game, feel free to pose them in the comments below, or take a look to see if someone else has already answered it down there, and be sure to thank them if they have. If you want to learn more about what our ranking system means, check out this video here. And if you want to learn how to play more games, check out our playlist here. And remember, keep changing, keep gaming, have fun.